It's time. We are going back. What's up, everybody, and welcome to a U.S. men's national team themed episode of the Designated Players Podcast. It is season 3, episode 15. We
That's
are recording
17 on the board. Come on.
God, I'm so baffled by how the U.S. are basically into a World Cup for the first time since 2014. I can't even get my numbers right. Also, it's surrounded by all of our memes, so tough to get thrown off. We are recording this on Monday, the 28th, which means the U.S. men's national team have beaten Panama by a score of 5-1. And as long as they don't pull the greatest choke job since PSG against Barcelona, we're in. Which is why I am still nervous until the day that we have our foot on the plane. I'm still not sold.
All right. Well, let me give you a little bit to make you feel a little bit better. Okay. I believe that when Barcelona and PSG played and they made that historic comeback, if that same scoreline were to happen, we would still qualify. So that we would have to lose even more historically bad than that.
You're telling me we can't do it? Is that a challenge?
It's not a challenge, but I'm telling you we can't do it.
Well, I guess what we can do is just basically recap the games, talk about our final game against Costa Rica, what you'd like to see, and maybe address some Euro snobism, because we're trying to end Euro snobism here.
Of course.
Let's start with the game at Mexico, of course. The first game.
Hey, whoa. Slow your roll.
Oh, you're right. Come
on now.
What are we doing? We got to go.
Unprofessional.
Listen, we don't usually record at 9 o'clock on a Monday, so I'm a little.
Listen, it's 8:51. It's not 9 o'clock yet.
I'm a little. I gotta go back into work tonight. Like my whole day is messed up. What are you rocking? Everybody already saw my scarf. United States, obviously tied into the theme. I don't think Connor's a true American. He doesn't have a scarf. So what are you rocking?
Mine does tie into the theme. I will say FCC lost, so the FCC scarf run is over
for now.
No, they until I put FCC as the worst team of the week again, which it may be a bit before that. But I don't have a USMNT scarf, so to make up for it, I got the Orlando scarf since they played the last game in Orlando.
Wow.
So close enough.
Man, you must be one of the world's most flexible individuals, because that is a stretch.
It's the best I got. I do have to get a USMNT scarf. I will wait for the Black Friday sales.
So USA Mexico 0-0 at the Azteca. Give me your just initial thoughts. I will admit I had to drive home to Kentucky from New York the next day, so I made it to about 60 minutes before my body turned me off.
So this is
much evidently, but
this is a game where it's one of those games where if you start out and say prior to the game, we're walking home with a point away at the Azteca, you're like, okay, that's not a bad result. And I still don't think it's a bad result. But the way we played, we were the better team, and we should have came home with 3 points and had a win. Our first World Cup qualifier win at the Azteca. So that hurt a little bit. We had 2 sitters that we missed. That stung. But at the end of the day, we got the point that we needed to set us up in this situation where we are right now, where we have a super small chance that we miss out. So I'm okay with it. I think it was a good result. The team played well. Yes, the finishing needs to improve. I think it will eventually get there, hopefully. I mean, we saw it with the Panama game. It definitely improved. So, yeah, I think overall, good game from the team. Lots of good things to take away. Still things to work on, of course. But I will take a draw at the Azteca almost any day of the week.
I'm 100% with you there. When I woke up and saw 0-0, I was happy. When I read the messages saying we should have won, I was still happy. I don't think it's such a bad thing that there's something to take from it. The fact that we were able to walk away and say we should have taken 3 points away from home at the Azteca. There are times early in men's national team life where that was never going to be the case, where a 0-0 was the best thing we were pushing for. The fact that 0-0 is one of the worst results of this window possibly at the Azteca is phenomenal. Let's talk about the lineup really quick and kind of the rotation and how people fit certain roles there, right? So Stefan, Yedlin, Zimmerman, Robinson, Adams, Musa, Costa, Weah, Pepe, Pulisic. One of the biggest issues, and we noted it against Mexico, is we still don't know who our number 9 is going to be. Pepe kept off the board. Pefok misses a sitter, and I believe Pooley missed a sitter as well, didn't he?
Yep.
So, and Pooley's not a 9. We know that, but a bit worrying that we've gone through qualifying and still haven't figured this out. All of qualifying, we've struggled. I want to say Yedlin was put in there for a bit of experience, right? If you threw a
well, he got put in there because there was zero other option.
There were zero other options, right? Because we didn't have Shaq Moore at the time.
Yeah.
Then you had obviously Zimmerman and Robinson. I genuinely believe that these two are going to be your World Cup starting center backs, which
as they should.
Fine by me.
Yeah.
Fine by me. Anthony Robinson had a rough game against, which we'll talk about in a little bit, but had a rough game against Costa Rica, I think.
Panama.
Yeah, that too. I told you I'm all over the place. Adams is the greatest men's national team player in the pool currently, maybe in the decade, possibly of all time. And I know you're laughing, but genuinely, that's not a stretch. That dude is.
It is a stretch. You're gonna say
that dude is the N'Golo Kante of the men's national team.
I think by the time his career is done with the men's national team, that yes, that it will be correct. But to say he's potentially the greatest men's national team player of all time already, that's totally a stretch. Come on.
You're a hater because he came from Red Bull.
You can only say that about one man that's in the team right now. And his name is Kellen Acosta.
Facts, who I was just about to get to. In the Mexican game, you needed a really good linker. Musa, obviously a very good attacking player. Adam is a very good defensive player. You needed somebody to be able to take the ball, switch the field. Acosta fits that role best out of anybody who was called in today or this year. I think it was a good start by Triple G there to start him. I think it's a very good decision, and I think he balanced the team really well. Obviously, Pulisic, no questions. Weah is probably your best winger on his day. And then Pepe has the most hype, but again, disappointing there.
I feel like it's a little tough on Pepe because I almost feel like every game that I've been watching him play lately, he just gets zero service because Pepe's been playing the tougher games, I would say. Like he gets the away at Mexico. I think he had like a tough game or two in the window before this as well. So it's, he's not getting the Panamas at home where we're just shellacking them. And, there's tons of service right into the box for Pepe. So, I still want to give him a chance, but it feels like he's on a little bit of bad form right now.
I'm just going to do a quick Google search here.
And bad form, when I say that, I mean for club and country, because I know he hasn't scored yet, I believe, for Augsburg. And they'll come.
He has not scored for Augsburg, correct.
It'll come. It'll come for him, for sure.
Yeah. He's got 3 goals for the United States in 10 appearances.
Yeah. I believe 2 of them in one game.
Yes. He had a goal against Honduras, he had both against Jamaica. He played against Panama
That was away at Panama, right?
That was away at Panama.
Which isn't the easiest. That's not easy.
Nope. He played against Costa Rica, against Mexico, and against Jamaica, had an assist. Played against Bosnia. Played against Canada. Honduras, he didn't score. And Mexico again. So yeah, you're absolutely right there. He has definitely had, if you had to pick, he's had the toughest set of games of any of the men's national team strikers, but that excuse doesn't fly when we get to the World Cup, right?
Yeah, because then almost every game is going to be a tough game.
Correct.
but I don't think that it's not like he can't perform against good teams. The ball almost never gets to him when we're in these games because we can get into this later on, but we lack a playmaker big time. Like if Gio's not in or like Luca Della Torre, we don't have a facilitator.
Sure, definitely. And again, I don't necessarily think Gregg's system needs a playmaker. And that's just the way it's set up. You have Pulisic, who's going to be your natural creator when he gets into space and creates those diagonal sprinting runs, right? He'll be your natural creator. Robinson loves to get high. Shaq Moore loves to get high.
Which is an issue. Can't have both of them getting high.
I know. Right, but they're both very, the attacking fullbacks get in very, very well, and your wingers kind of tuck inside as well. So, yeah, that's just the way the system works. And I'm not saying we don't need one. I'm just saying it might not necessarily be absolutely 100% like we can't play without one.
Mm-hmm.
So that's just me.
Yeah, we'll have to figure out the number 9 at some point. Obviously, we have a decent amount of months here. I think a lot of it is going to come down to who's in form for club when the decision has to be made. So we shall see. A lot of guys in the mix, though.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. I'm just quickly watching over these highlights again. Where is the executive order to ban Memo Ochoa from playing against us every time? Because I'm so tired of watching this guy.
It's in progress. It's only a few years away. You got to figure.
You think until it's not.
He's gonna be 50 years old.
He's gonna Brady us and play forever. Oh God!
He's gonna have a cane in goal. He's gonna be saving balls with the cane.
Man, as a goalkeeper, I respect the hell out of him. He's awesome. But I'm trying to find this PFOC. Oh, PFOC. That's not good. I just saw it.
Yeah, it's not good.
Oh, that's really not good. Gio Reyna's like, dude, you were garbage. You know who finishes that? Erling Haaland. Why can't I be playing with Erling Haaland right now?
Giassi's artist finishes that.
No, he doesn't. We watched that. He doesn't do that. Yeah. Let's talk about Gio Reyna for a second. Gio Reyna in 30 minutes of play, basically, has been the single best American on the field, both games. His ability to run at defenders, slice and dice, and make people miss. He has that little bit about him, that little, F you, I'm better than you and I'm going to prove it today. And that's really awesome. I'm really enjoying the way that he plays, and I'm really enjoying that because somebody tweeted it, but I couldn't agree more. The US is always better when they're playing with that sort of attitude, right? Think about Dempsey, think about Jermaine Jones, think about those players who are just like, I'm better than you. I'm going to prove it. I'm going to get in your face when you think you're better than me. It's just so much fun to watch him play again. Because again, him, Adams, Pulisic, all of them were just like, yeah, what's up? We're better than you. We know it, and we're going to prove it every time we step on the field. Awesome. Just so cool.
Yeah, it's great.
But yeah, so biggest issue, and we'll move into the Panama game now. The biggest issue for me is that number 9 spot. And Jesus Ferreira is the only national team player with a goal right now. As a striker, excuse me. Let me rephrase that. Only national team striker with a goal. What did you think about our performance against the Panamanians?
I mean, it was clinical. You could not ask for a better game there because I think they got a bit more relaxed, a little bit more complacent in the second half. But I mean, they absolutely dominated them in the first half. I mean, 4-0, you can't ask for better than that. I think a lot of things were clicking offensively in the first half, and they were really making I almost said Nashville, but they were really making Panama pay for their mistakes because I had Nashville in my head because I was thinking Godoy, which is what we need to do. Like the teams that are worse than us, yeah, they're going to make mistakes. Capitalize on it. You're the better team. Force them to make those mistakes, and then when they do, win your penalties and score them, which is exactly what we did. So yeah, I think it was fantastic. I think I have to, as much as everybody loves to dog on Gregg, he has absolutely so far nailed this window. His teams, his substitutions, his tactics, he has been near perfect. He's been very, very good.
Let's talk about those tactics and those lineups here. Our good friend Paul Arriola, I know him as Paul, me and him first name basis, really tight.
Of course.
Got a ton of slander based off of the fact that he was starting against the Panamanians yesterday.
Uh-huh.
I'm gonna direct everybody to this graphic right here.
Put a line through it.
There is.
There is. It's a little erased.
It's a little erased, but here, I'll zoom in on it.
Oh yeah, I see it. Yeah.
We are ending Euro snobism. People who don't watch anything but the Premier League would rather see some random European player or player who plays in the European leagues than any MLS player in the national team if it meant that they had to go to their grave afterwards.
Oh yeah. They would rather see Lyndon Gooch, League One Sunderland Lyndon Gooch than watch Paul Arriola start on the wing.
Hook Lyndon Gooch to my page, please. That man, I remember. Do you remember back in like 2015 when he was the next big thing?
Yeah, it was wild,
dude. It was like him, Julian Green. Like, oh, man, I want to go back to. I don't want to go back to that time in men's national team history, but I want to have that same hype for some random kid playing in the.
Oh yeah, Julian Green got like 3 minutes for Bayern, and he was like the next Landon Donovan for us.
Yes. There is something to be, as I mentioned during the Aaron Long rant, there are so many more clever ways to say I don't know what I'm talking about than to complain when an MLS player gets a start. There are tactics and game plans in mind every time somebody goes out on the field. That's the same reason Kellen Acosta played over Luca de la Torre against Mexico. It's the same reason Paul Arriola started over an injured and sick Gio Reyna against Panama. The Panamanians are not as good as we are. It's just a fact. So when they try and keep the ball from the back, we understand that they are not good at playing possession football. So we're going to put Paul Arriola, who's got engines for days, to press high and try and win the ball in good areas. When you have players like Tyler Adams, who will pick up every loose ball, or Walker Zimmerman and Miles Robinson, who will win every single 50-50 in the air, knot it down to Tyler Adams, who plays to either Musa or De La Torre to go forward, right? And then play into Paul Arriola. But that ball that we need to win from Zimmerman doesn't happen if we put Gio Reyna in, I love Gio Reyna, but him and Pulisic together are properly like Mo Salah, Sadio Mane in my FIFA team, where I stick them on the wings as far out wide as they can, as high as they can, and just dump long balls. They don't defend. And obviously that's not saying that every single time they don't defend. Pulisic obviously will work his way back. So will Gio Reyna, but they are attacking players. Paul Arriola's got a two-way motor. He will put pressure on the front when he needs to. You watch a game, the one of the chances that the Mexicans had in the first half, right as the first half was ending, Kellen Acosta presses into the space that he needs to be, but Pulisic doesn't drop into that space to provide the secondary support. They break that line super easily. Then they're in on goal because our outside back is too high. We're shifted in the wrong spot and we're out of place, right? We know that the Panamanians probably didn't have that sort of ability, right? So we put Luca de la Torre in there over Kellen Acosta with Yunus Musa, both players who are very good at going forward, and play into players like Pulisic, Ferreira, Arriola. But none of that happens if you don't have Paul Arriola pressing. And then the man steps up and scores a brilliant header and says, shh, don't say that. People need to stop talking like they know what they're talking about every time an MLS player steps on the field. I kept seeing, oh, it's a must-win game. Why are we playing Paul Arriola? Paul Arriola is the best option to win that game. And we mentioned it before we started. I know I'm ranting here, and I'll stop in a second. But you put Paul Arriola in, run down their back line for 60 minutes, then you let Gio Reyna go play. How many times did Gio Reyna go get tons of chances in that second half? Because the Panamanians were both pressing for a goal because we knew we'd get one early, and they were so tired from having to deal with Paul Arriola chase him around for 45 minutes. They couldn't do it anymore. People, enough with the Euro snobism. Get it out of my national team. One more thing I want to talk about.
Yeah, go ahead.
I kept seeing this thing like, oh, Paul Arriola has, 4 years of bad appearances behind him, that one good game isn't going to take him out of our graces. We're trying to qualify for a World Cup. I don't care if he had 15 years of bad men's national team appearances. If he scores a goal against me in the World Cup, instantly forgiven, which is what he basically just did. Because if he doesn't score, and obviously Pulisic doesn't get all the rest of his and Ferrer, whatever, if we don't open those floodgates with that second goal, we tie 1-1. Now we have to go to Costa Rica and get a result. Enough with the negativity towards any national team player, but especially ones that come from our own nation's league. Support who we have coming out. There's a reason he was the most paid for player in Garber Bucks this in history. The man can do it on a cold, rainy night at Stoke. That's all I'm saying. End rant.
Nice. Very good. Very nice. I will add in that neither of us here believe that Paul Arriola is a better player than Gio Reyna. And anybody that is saying that.
Hold on.
What?
I'm just kidding. Go ahead.
And anybody that is saying that is either trying to troll you and get a reaction, or they're just brain dead, right? Like, Paul Arriola is not at the level of Gio Reyna. Gio Reyna will only continue to improve and create a further gap between them. We are not sitting here saying Paul is the better player. That's why he should start. He is starting because he fit best in the system. Not to mention that Gio is recently coming back from an injury. So we're not just trying to send him out there so that his hamstring explodes or whatever injury he had. He had a stomach bug from the game against Mexico. Why push him so hard when you could play someone else who could give you a good first 45, and then Gio can come in and play against dead legs, which is exactly what happened. And Gio was a great playmaker that game. There were multiple times I saw him play great through balls in behind, whether it was like to Puli, whether it was to Musa, to Luca, to Jesus Ferreira. I mean, he was great. He was the facilitator that we needed, like, big time. The one that I feel like we've been missing for a long time. But if Gio starts that game, it could be a completely different story. Gio is going against fresher legs. Gio's legs himself aren't necessarily as fresh. He is still coming off that injury. I think Gregg absolutely got it right. He started with Arriola. He absolutely should have started with Arriola. It would have been a different story had Weah not been suspended. You can make the argument Weah should start, maybe, or you rest Weah, seeing as how he played in the last game. But that wasn't the case. Weah was suspended. Your options were Gio, Paul Arriola, or maybe Jordan Morris. And Paul Arriola was absolutely the right call. And it paid off. And look at it. It paid off big time. 5-1. A big part. Paul had a goal and an assist. That's 2 of the goals. Paul himself beat Panama.
I think the way that we can end this really is, let's stop pretending like we are some God-given, world's greatest soccer nation. We missed the World Cup in 2018. There was so much that we needed to do to get back to where we have to be and where we are 90 minutes away from. Take what we get. I want to think that we are in a position now where the World Cup qualification is just expected. 4 years ago, that was not the case. Our team was old, stagnant. We really didn't know what our future held. This is a massive, massive point in our country's football history. Because if we missed out again, if we put the wrong lineup out there and we miss out again, I have no idea what this world would have looked like, what the football world of America would have looked like. So let's stop saying, "Oh man, he only did it because it was against Panama," or he had 4 years of bad result or appearances, and we shouldn't praise him for one good game. Let's be hyped that we are 90 minutes away from making a World Cup for the first time since 2014. Let's put our collective strength behind a team that has gone out and gotten the job done, whether you play in MLS, whether you play in England, Spain, Germany, Belgium, doesn't matter. We went out and we got the job done collectively as a country and as a team. So let's stop gatekeeping, gaslighting. Stop gatekeeping American national team. Just enjoy that we are doing well and we have the chance to continue to do well in a World Cup for the first time since 2014.
Yeah, agreed. All we have to do is make it. That's it. Who cares? And not to mention that it's very I would say almost half of that lineup that went against Panama either spent a decent amount of time in MLS or is currently in MLS. I mean, Zimmerman, Robinson, Stefan, Tyler Adams, Jesus Ferreira, Paul Arriola. I mean, that's more than half the team. So I get that some of these guys haven't had the greatest track record, and if they were guys that like Paul Arriola, I believe, was in the mix back even in like 2018 when we were struggling. So I think some of the animosity towards him probably just comes from the fact that he was like in and around that group when the quality was a lot poorer. So I think they kind of just generally group him in that. But I just why you should. I don't know. And I don't have anything else to say.
So I want to just read out. This is the October World Cup qualifying roster in 2017, which I believe was the last one before we got knocked out, because I believe it happened in October. I'm going to name off some names. Okay. You can laugh. 2017. Remember, it's 2017. Jeff Cameron, Omar Gonzalez, Matt Beasler, Jorge Villafana, DeMarcus Beasley, Michael Orozco, Juan Agudelo, Dax McCarty, Bobby Wood, and Clint Dempsey is the other name. I mean, Chris Wando is the other name that I see there. We had a striker partnership of either Josie Altidore, Clint Dempsey, Bobby Wood, or Chris Wondolowski. We still don't know. We still don't have a good number 9 outside of Josie when he was there. But look at the names on that roster versus the names that we have now, versus the depth that we have now, right? We are deciding on players who just will not be going to the World Cup, right? Out of I'm speechless at some of the names that are on that list, right?
Yeah, I mean, we were on our 4th string right back right now, and I would almost imagine Shaq Moore would probably walk into that 2017 and start. 2017.
Are you kidding? Over Graham Zusi? 100%, right? But it's and this is where I get that you said, Paul Arriola is tied into this failure of a men's national team group. That's not a Paul Arriola fault. He was up and coming at that point. Paul Arriola, what is he now? He's like 27, right?
He's not. I don't think he's super old.
Paul Arriola is 27 years old, which means at this time, he was 22 years old. 22-year-old Paul Arriola is getting blamed because he was a part of this roster. Are we kidding?
Yeah, and I don't understand why people don't think that he can improve and get better. I mean, he was like if you're basing it off of what he was doing like 2 or 3 years ago, I mean, he was like 24, 25. I mean, he's hitting the prime of his career right now. Is it all that surprising that is it out of this world that Paul Arriola got better over his time? Like, it's not impossible for guys to get better.
Right. And we're talking, everybody's acting like, oh, he's just an MLS player. He made 80 appearances for Tijuana when he was like 18 years, starting at 18 years old, right? 2013. That was 9 years ago. That would have been 18 years old. He was playing for Tijuana in Mexico, where he scored in the Champions League. Like, this guy has experience, right? Then he goes to DC for a massive fee, right? Speaking of, he went to DC United for $3 million plus allocation money to Galaxy. He went for $3 million in 2017 MLS, right? Then he goes out to Swansea, gets injured, comes back early. Then he goes out to Dallas for the record allocation money and is torching it in the high-paced, high-press system in Dallas. There are systems that need to be put in place to be successful against certain teams. People fit the system. This isn't FIFA. You don't just get to put anybody you want in there and make it work.
They just want young players. That's all they want. They see high potential. Who cares about high potential? You're trying to make the World Cup now. I'm not trying to make the World Cup in
26,
30, you know?
Yeah. It boggles my mind that there are people here who are trying to gatekeep who is considered a good men's national team player. And if you play in America, you're automatically out. But you never hear this stuff about Walker Zimmerman or Miles Robinson. You never hear it.
Yeah.
Anyways, we're going to move on before we.
Well, I mean, you kind of hear it because everybody wants John Brooks in the team. You know.
Yeah, but they want John Brooks because.
But they want Aaron Long out.
Aaron Long. But nobody ever talks bad about Zimmerman because he plays well, or Miles Robinson because he plays well. Paul Arriola plays well. Nobody says, everybody bags on him for being not good 4 years ago when he was 22 years old. Get out of here with that. Get out of here.
All right. You want to talk about how we're gonna somehow blow it and not make it? Is that what you're?
No, I'm not. I don't think we're gonna blow it. But there's always a part.
What you were saying on the live stream.
There's always a part of me that is never satisfied, right? So the fact that there is still an outside possibility that we don't get automatic qualification scares me.
I mean, you could have it. Oh, you want to talk about Doyle's tweet? We could have 100% that we could be in there at the forfeit.
I am all aboard the forfeit train right now. Get me on a plane to Qatar. I'm all aboard the forfeit train. But
is that like a realistic option? Like,
no? Oh my God! You know how CONCACAF that would be.
I mean, you get everybody stays rested. Nobody gets hurt. You automatically qualify unless there's like some hidden like points deduction thing if you forfeit. I mean, that doesn't seem like a bad option.
Costa Rica would blow up. They would lose their shit.
I mean, they could still pass Mexico. They get a 3-0 win. Mexico would have to lose by. Let's see. Mexico would have to lose by, I think, 2.
Against who?
I think it's like El Salvador.
Oh my God! Yeah, right.
At home, and they're home too. I mean, that's not going to happen, but
yeah.
Do they really think that they're going to actually win like 6-0 against the US though?
So here's my question for you. Who do you start in this game, knowing that all you need to do is not lose by 6?
I would personally go 5 at the back. I think I would want to go. What'd you say?
I'm just laughing.
I think I'd go Zimmerman, Robinson, and Long as the 3 center backs. I kind of want to go Horvath here because I just have not been sold on Stefan. He's looked very shaky. But I wouldn't complain overly if they went with Stefan. I'd probably go. Well, I'd definitely go Anthony Robinson at left. No, I think I'd give Bello the start, honestly. Give Robinson a rest. He played both games. I think he played like the full 90 both games too. Shaq Moore. I don't know what's going on if he got injured at the end of the last game. I know
He did come up lame.
Yeah. So you might go Yedlin here. In the midfield, I would love to see Luca start again. And we talked about this off the podcast, but Luca's become my favorite USMNT player. I would like to see. I would think Tyler Adams probably gets a rest. Kellen Acosta probably gets the start. I don't know if would you start Gio in this game? Maybe. I think Musa probably gets a rest because he started both games. So I would think maybe, I don't know, unless he wants to go roll down in the midfield. On the wings, I'd like to see Paul get the start again. Maybe Morris gets a start. And then I'd want to see Pflock or Pepe at striker.
Interesting. Okay, so I'm gonna go off and say I think Zach Steffen needs to sit. I don't know if he's hurt. I don't know if it's lack of confidence, but I agree with you. He has not sold me as being somebody, and we talked about this on the live stream, as being somebody who wants to be the starter. You know, it just doesn't see. It seems like he's almost taking it for granted, which I know is not the case, right? He's a pro. I get that, but it just seems like, you know, instead of, and we talked about the Tim Howard comparison, right? If we came out in the second half against Panama like we did yesterday, Tim Howard is outside of his box at the halfway line, screaming at every single person in that team. Zach Steffen was just like, whatever. I get it. We're up 4 goals, but there's a mindset that you can't switch off. That's just me. I don't think you go 5 in the back because you're still trying to make sure that you have an identity, right? 4-3-3 is Gregg's identity. He enjoys what he does. I say you go Shaq Moore, Robinson, Zimmerman. I think those are your. Actually, no, I would go Yedlin too because I remember the more injuries. So Yedlin, Zimmerman, Robinson. Give me Kellen Acosta. Give me Tyler Adams. Give me Luca. Then up on the wings, give me Jordan Morris and Tim Weah. Let Tim Weah go back at it. Give me Pflock up top. Let him get his start. But I think the more interesting thing would be the sub pattern, assuming we don't need a score goal because we haven't blown a 6-goal lead. Give me Christian Roldan for his 5 minutes of fame. Give me Gio Reyna. Give me George Bello at left back. You can give me Aaron Long at center back and give me, I mean, hell, put Pepe in, put any striker in there, but keep Pulisic off the field if we have to. Honestly, I would almost say keep Reyna off the field if we can. I think they're going to play him anyway, but I'd say keep him off too. Because the last thing you need is Costa Rica. Yeah, Costa Rica coming in being stupid. Pulisic out for 4 months, and now we're lucky if we see him or not.
Yeah.
But absolutely in for Horvath. Give me any 11 that are going to get the job done. I don't care. Get me on the plane to Qatar. That's all.
I genuinely think that any 11 gets the job done, to be honest.
Yeah. I don't know. There's, again, every time I think, yeah, we're in, when we aren't absolutely in, especially that they brought out a banner that said qualified. You know how absolutely peak that would be for everybody in CONCACAF to say, oh, yeah, you guys thought you were qualified. Now you blew the biggest league in football history. Yeah, good job. I can hear it. My mentions.
I genuinely think things would have to go even more wrong than it did in Trinidad to miss the World Cup this time.
Trinidad really didn't even go wrong. They just bunkered. They scored a goal and they sat in.
Well, I mean, like we had to end up winning that game. We didn't. We still could have gone through, but then like a bunch of things at the end of that game happened that knocked us out. Like really late in that game, like a lot of things went wrong at the same time.
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
So I think so much. Like even if we managed to lose 6-0 against Costa Rica, we still aren't out. We have a playoff game against either the Solomon Islands or New Zealand.
Yeah, that's what I want. I want to go against Chris Wood in New Zealand and have him just absolutely tower.
What's he gonna? I'd take Zimmerman and Miles Robinson. They could absolutely compete with him in the air. Then what? They have no Chris Wood. What are they doing?
But when does that playoff happen? Right? Do we know when that playoff game would be?
No, I'm not sure.
It would be the 13th or 14th of June, which means that if we were to do that and go in there, Miles Robinson and Walker Zimmerman both would catch the flu right before kickoff, and we'd be stuck with like.
We're so deep at center back. You'd have Aaron Long in there. You may even see a John Brooks in there. We'd be fine.
Listen, I'm not here trying to say there's no shot. There's obviously more.
We're gonna be fine.
We're gonna be fine. But there's
I know.
There's a little voice in the back of your head, like,
I know.
oh,
you've
Trinidad?
got trauma from 2018.
Yeah, I really do. But I feel confident that we get the job done and we are on our way to Qatar. And I'm really hoping that the negative vibes are being sent out into the world so the reverse jinx can just be loaded up and we win like 4-1 and everything's great.
I mean, there's an outside chance we still finish top of the CONCACAF qualifying table.
There really is, isn't there?
We got to win like 3-0 or something like that, or we have to score a few goals, but
we have to win and Canada needs to lose, and then there needs to be
I mean, Canada may not care at this point. Why not just send out whoever?
Canada get Panama, who are out.
Yeah, Panama's not going to care.
Or they're going to care a ton and they're going to go kill people.
Well, they may not care about the game. They may just care for revenge. But why take revenge out on Canada?
They're so nice.
I know.
My prediction is we get the job done, we auto qualify, and then we'll deal with the World Cup when the World Cup comes around.
My prediction, I actually think we get a draw out of this game. I think we actually get something out of it rather than just not losing by 6. But if we lose, I know everyone's going to be on nerves. Like if we're down like 2-0 at halftime, everybody's gonna be like,
dude, if we are losing at halftime, I am going to like scream. But like, and again, if we're losing 1-0 or like 2-1, all right, whatever. But if we're losing like 3-0 at halftime, I'm gonna cry.
Yeah, it would be a dodgy second half. I'd start getting a little bit concerned. Yeah, that's why I don't think Gregg's gonna like fully rotate the team. You'll still see a decent number.
He would never coach again. He would.
Oh yeah, if he blew it.
Oh, never again.
Yeah, he'd be gone. I mean, you would hope so at least, but you never know.
All right, I can't talk about this anymore. I'm gonna cry.
Good vibes only. We're qualifying. We're going to the World Cup.
Reverse jinx only. Reverse jinx only. All right, guys. Thank you for listening to our men's national team recap. 1 game to go. This episode will go live when that game is being played. So
maybe earlier. I'm going to try to get it out tomorrow.
Yeah, it's a 10 o'clock kickoff, I think. So, I mean, it'll come out early.
Oh, 10 o'clock on a Wednesday. It was 10?
9:05. Sorry, 9:05.
Oh, yeah, it's a lot better.
Yeah, I can do that. But thanks for listening. Make sure you follow us wherever you get your podcasts so you know we go live for the next time. Make sure you follow us on social media, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, TikTok. Search the Designated Players Podcast. We'll show up. Make sure you do that so you know when we go live, when our next episodes are live, when we're planning to do live streams, and when we post our clips. They're all really cool. I am officially caught up on clips as of today.
Nice.
Clips are posted, and all the TikToks are made as well. I just got to post them throughout the week, and then we'll be caught up, which is awesome. But again, thanks everybody for listening. Go USA. Christian Pulisic made prime Dennis Bergkamp eat his heart out. and we'll see you at the World Cup. See you.